Lab 1 overview. This is your trainer. You can see that it's laid out. There are a couple things to make specific note about. We'll zoom down, and what we'll show you is the target ZIF socket. This is where your target microcontroller goes. You can see that we've got a PIC 16F84A in it now. In this configuration, your oscillator or your ceramic resonator, which is the 20 megahertz, connects to these two pins. In addition to that, with this target processor, it's very important that these dip switches be set up properly. You can see here that these are 1 through 5 are to the left on this socket, that these are on or switched to the right 6 through 10. Also note that these two switches on this socket are in the right position. However, when you actually do your programming of this particular chip, which is the 18-pin version, you must move this to the left during programming. This is also the associated reset button for the 18-pin device. And a lot of the information is actually given to you on the silk screen. If you take a close look down here, you can see that everything is a silk screen, and the silk screens indicate what the different buttons do. Again, at this particular point, we're set up for the 16F84. Also notice that these SK10 sockets, we also have 5-volt supply that are connected to the board, and they must be applied to the socket. And note these little jumpers. That brings the power down here for your supply rails, your plus 5 volts and your logic common. If we use a larger chip in subsequent labs, you remove this, put in a new target microcontroller, lock it in. However, you do have to change for the 40-pin device. You must relocate the oscillator pins over to port E, and you can see that it's also silk screened, and it's also in the literature for the microcontroller and for our trainer. Also a particular note, these switches that are these selection switches, they allow multiple devices, but they're basically reversed. That is, switches 1 through 5 are on the right hand position, on position, and these 6 through 10 are in the left position or the off position. Also note that during programming, this is still the proper way to run a program. However, when you do run your download, you do have to go with the opposite switch in the left position. Once your program has been downloaded, then to run your program, you've got to switch back to the right position. You can also notice that the reset button for the larger chip is on the left side. This must be depressed during programming of the chip and downloading. You can also notice on the silk screen that for the different devices, it says whether it's an 18-pin or a 40-pin device, but around the peripheral of our SK10 sockets are all the associated I/O pins for all these chips, and also on the other side of the chip for various things like MOSFETs and LEDs, and also we've got a lot of I/O capability with different slide switches and push button switches, and even an RS-232 driver, which we need. So in later experiments, you will be making use of some of these little switches, push buttons, and at the far end of the board we also have a dip switch for our general I/O use